RHUL Shakespeare Society is proud to present to you a rendition of Christopher Marlowe's The Massacre at Paris. This play deals with themes of conflict, religious violence, and vengeance, and therefore viewer discretion should be advised. The following trigger warnings are in place: gunshots, stabbings, depictions of torture, religious genocide, domestic abuse, violence, threat, and hanging references. Please enjoy the show.
Prince of Navarre, my honourable brother, my good Lord Admiral, I wish this union and religious league, knit in these hands, thus joined in nuptial rites, may not dissolve till death dissolve our lives, and that the native sparks of princely love, that kindled first this motion to our hearts, may still be fuelled in our progeny.
Many favours which your grace hath shown from time to time, but especially in this, shall bind me ever to your highness's will, in what Queen Mother your grace commands.
Thanks, son Navarre. You see we love you well that link you in marriage with our daughter here, and as you know, our difference in religion might be a means to cross you in your love.
Well, madam, let that rest. And now, my lords, the marriage rites performed, we think it good to go and consummate the rest with hearing of a holy mass. The rest that will not go, my lords, may stay. Come, mother, let us go to honour this solemnity.
Which I'll dissolve with blood and cruelty.
My good Lord Admiral, now guys may storm, but do us little hurt, having the King, Queen Mother on our sides, to stop the malice of his envious heart, that seeks to murder all the Protestants. Have you not heard of how late he decreed, if that King had given consent thereto, that all the Protestants that are in Paris should have been murdered the other night?
My lord, I marvel that the aspiring guise dares once adventure, without the king's consent, to meddle or attempt such dangerous things.
But he that sits and rules above the clouds doth hear and see the prayers of the just, and will avenge the blood of innocents, the guides are slain by treason of his heart, and brought by murders their timeless ends.
My lord, but did you mark the Duke Domain? How he did storm at these your nuptial rites because the House of Bourbon now comes in, and joins your lineage to the crown of France.
And that's the cause that Guy so frowns at us, and beats his brains to catch us in his trap, which he hath pitched with deadly toil. Come, my lords, let us go to the church, and pray that God may still defend the right of France, and make his gospel flourish in this land.
If ever Hymen lowered at marriage rites, and had his altars decked with dusky lights, if ever sun stained heaven with bloody clouds, and made it look with terror on the world, if ever day were turned to ugly night, and night made semblance of the hue of hell, this day, this hour, this fatal night, shall fully show the fury of them all. Brother!
My lord.
Now shall I prove and gird unto the full the love thou bearest unto the house of Guise. Where are those perfumed gloves which I sent to be poisoned? Hast thou done them? Speak! Will each savour breed a pang of death?
See where they be, my good lord, and he that smells but to them dies.
Then thou remains resolute.
I am, my lord, in what your grace commands, till death.
Thanks, my good brother. I will requite thy love. Go then, present them to the Queen Navarre, for she is that huge blemish in our eye that makes these upstart heresies in France. Begone, my brother. Present them to her straight. Soldier!
My lord?
Now, come thou forth, and play thy tragic part. Stand in some window, opening near the street, and when thou seest the Admiral ride by, discharge thy musket, and perform his death. And then I'll guerdon thee with store of crowns.
I will, my lord.
Now, guys, begin those deep engendered thoughts to burst abroad those never-dying flames which cannot be extinguished but by blood. Oft have I levelled, and at last have learned that peril is the chiefest way to happiness, and resolution honour's fairest aim. What glory is there in a common good that hangs for every peasant to achieve? That like I best, that flies beyond my reach, set me to scale the high pyramids, and thereon set the diadem of France. I'll either rend it with my nails to naught, or mount the top with my aspiring wings, although my downfall be the deepest hell. For this I wake when others think I sleep. For this I wait that scorn's attendance else. For this my quenchless thirst whereon I build have often pleaded kindred to the king. For this head, this heart, this hand on sword contrives, imagines, and fully executes matters of import, aimed at by many yet understood by none. For this hath heaven engendered me of earth. For this earth sustains my body's weight, and with this weight I'll counterpoise a crown, or with seditions weary all the world. For this, from Spain the stately Catholics send Indian gold to coin me French accuse. For this have I a largess from the Pope, a pension and a dispensation too, and by that privilege to work upon, my policy hath framed religion. Religion. Oh, terrible! Fie, I am ashamed, however, that I seem to think a word of such a simple sound, of so great a matter, should be made the ground. The gentle king, whose pleasure uncontrolled weakeneth his body, and will waste his realm if I repair not what he ruinates. Him as a child I daily win with words, so that for proof he barely bears the name. I execute, and he sustains the blame. The mother queen works wonders for my sake, and in my love entombs the hope of France, rifling the bowels of her treasury to supply my wants and necessity. Paris hath full 500 colleges, as monasteries, priories, abbeys, and halls, wherein are 30,000 able men, besides 1,000 sturdy student Catholics. And more, of my knowledge, in one cloister keeps 500 fat Franciscan friars and priests. All this, and more, if more may be comprised, to bring the will of our desires to an end. Then, guys, since thou hast all the cards within thy hands, to shuffle or cut, take this as surest thing, that right or wrong, thou deals thyself the king. Ay, but Navarre! 'Tis but a nook of France, sufficient yet for such a petty king, that with a rabblement of his heretics blinds Europe's eyes and troubleth our estate. Him will we. But first, let's follow those in France that hinder our possession to the crown. As Caesar to his soldiers, so say I. Those that hate me will I learn to loathe. Give me a look, that when I bend the brows, pale death may walk in the furrows of my face. A hand that with a grasp may gripe the world. An ear to hear what my detractors say. A royal seat, a sceptre, and a crown, that those which do behold they may become as men that stand and gaze against the sun. The plot is laid, and things shall come to pass, where resolution strives for victory!
Madam, I beseech your grace to accept this simple gift.
Thanks, my good friend. Hold, take thou this reward.
I humbly thank your majesty.
Methinks the gloves have a very strong perfume, the scent whereof doth make my head to ache.
Doth not your grace know the man that gave them you?
Not well, but do remember such a man.
Your grace was ill-advised to take them then, considering of these dangerous times.
Help! Son of a... I am poisoned.
The heavens forbid, your highness, such mishap!
The late suspicion of the Duke of Guise might well have moved your highness to beware how you did meddle with such dangerous gifts.
Too late it is, my lord, if that be true, to blame her highness. But I hope it only be some natural passion makes her sick.
Oh, no. The fatal poison works within my head. My brain pan breaks. My heart doth faint.
My mother, poisoned here before my face. Oh, gracious gods, what times are these? Oh, grant, sweet God, my days may end with hers, that I with her may die and live again.
Let not this heavy chance, my dearest lord, for whose effects my soul is massacred, infect thy gracious breast with fresh supply to aggravate our sudden misery. Come, my lords, let us bear her body hence and see it honoured with just solemnity.
My Lord High Admiral.
By my good lord, shot through the arm!
Betrayed! Come, my lords, and let us go tell the king of this.
These are the cursed Geisians that do seek our death. Oh, fatal was this marriage to us all.
My noble son and princely Duke of Guise, now have we got the fatal straggling deer within the compass of a deadly toil, and, as we late decreed, we may perform.
Madam, it will be noted through the world an action bloody and tyrannical, chiefly since under safety of our word they justly challenge their protection. Besides, my heart relents that noble men, only corrupted in religion, ladies of honour, knights and gentlemen should for their conscience taste such ruthless ends.
Though gentle mind should pity others' pains, yet will the wisest know their proper griefs, and rather seek to scourge their enemies than be themselves base subjects to the whip.
Methinks, my lord, Anjou hath well advised your highness to consider of the thing, and rather choose to seek your country's good than to pity or relieve these upstart heretics.
I hope these reasons may serve my princely son to have some care for fear of enemies.
Well, madam, I refer it to your majesty, and to my nephew here, the Duke of Guise. What you determine, I will ratify.
Thanks to my princely son. Then tell me, Guise, what order will you set down for the massacre?
Thus, madam. They that shall be actors in this massacre shall wear white crosses on their burgonets, and tie white linen scarves about their arms. He that wants these, and is suspect of heresy, shall die, be he king or emperor. Then I'll have a peal of ordnance shot from the tower, at which they all shall issue out and set the streets, and then the watchword being given, a bell shall ring, which when they hear they shall begin to kill, and never cease until that bell shall cease. Then breathe a while.
And it please your grace, the Lord High Admiral, riding the streets, was traitlessly shot, and most humbly entreats your majesty to visit him, sick in his bed.
Tell him I will see him straight. What shall we do now with the Admiral?
Your majesty were best go visit him, and make a show as if all were well.
Content. I will go visit the Admiral.
And I will go take order for his death.
How fares it with my Lord High Admiral? Hath he been hurt with villains in the street? I vow and swear, as I am King of France, to find and to repay the man with death delayed and torments never used, that durst presume, for hope of any gain, to hurt the noble man his sovereign loves.
Ah, my good lord, these are the Geisians that seek to massacre our guiltless lives.
Assure yourself, my good Lord Admiral, I deeply sorrow your treacherous wrong, and that I am now more secure myself than I am careful you should be preserved. I shall instruct Cossan, the captain of our guard, to take 20 of our strongest guard, and under your direction see they keep all treacherous violence from our noble friend, repaying all attempt with present death upon the cursed breakers of our peace. And so, be patient, good Lord Admiral, and every hour I will visit you.
I humbly thank your royal majesty.
Anjou, Domain, Rhett, swear by the argent crosses in your burgonets to slay all you suspect of heresy.
I swear by this to be unmerciful.
I am disguised, and none knows who I am, and therefore mean to murder all I meet.
And so will I.
Away, then! Break into the Admiral's house!
Aye, let the Admiral be first dispatched.
The Admiral, chief standard-bearer to the Lutherans, shall in the entrance of this massacre be murdered in his bed. Rhett, conduct them thither, and then beset his house that not a man may live.
That charge is mine. Switzers, keep you the streets, and at each corner shall the King's guard stand.
Come, sirs, follow me.
Cossan, the captain of the Admiral's guard, placed by my brother, will betray his lord. Now, guys, shall Catholics flourish once again, the head being off, the members cannot stand.
But look, my lord, there's someone in the Admiral's house.
In lucky time. Come, let us keep this lane, and slay his servants that shall issue out.
Where is the Admiral?
Oh, let me pray before I die!
Then pray unto Our Lady. Kiss this cross.
Oh God! Forgive my sins!
Domain. What, is he dead?
Aye, brother.
Then throw him down.
Now, cousin, view him well. It may be it is some other, and he escaped.
Cousin, 'tis he. I know him by his look. See where my soldier shot him through the arm. He missed him near, but we have struck him now. Ah, base Chatillon and degenerate chief standard-bearer to the Lutherans, thus, in despite of thy religion, the Duke of Guise stamps upon thy lifeless bulk.
Away with him! Cut off his head and hands, and send them for a present to the Pope. And, when this just revenge is finished, on to Mount Fesson will we drag his corpse, and he, that living hated so the cross, shall, being dead, be hanged thereon in chains.
Untrue, Rhett, if that you too will be as resolute in Iron Domain, there shall not be a Huguenot breathe in France.
I swear by this cross, we'll not be partial, but slay as many as we can come near.
Rhett, go shoot the ordnance off, that they, which have already set the street, may know their watchword, and then toll the bell, and so let's forward to the massacre.
I will, my lord.
And now, my lords, let's closely to our business.
Anjou will follow thee.
And so will Domain.
Come then, let's away! To way! Let none escape! Murder the Huguenots!
Kill them! Kill them!
Lorraine! Follow Lorraine! Sarah, are you a preacher of these heresies?
I am a preacher of the word of God, and thou a traitor to thy soul and him.
Dearly beloved brother, thus 'tis written.
Stay, my lord. Let me begin the psalm.
Come, drag him away and throw him in a ditch.
Who is that which knocks there?
Rhett, from the Duke of Guise.
To speak with me, from such a man as he?
Aye, for this sermon, and thou shalt have.
O Christ, my Saviour!
Christ, villain! Why darest thou to presume to call on Christ, without the intercession of some saint? Sanctus Jacobus, he's my saint, pray to him.
Oh, let me pray unto my God.
Then take this with you.
What fearful cries come from the River Seine that fright poor Ramus sitting at his book? I fear the Geisians have passed the bridge and mean once more to menace me.
Fly, Ramus, fly, if thou wilt save thy life!
Tell me, Talius, wherefore should I fly?
The Geisans are hard at thy door and mean to murder us. Hark, hark, they come! I'll leap out the window.
Sweet Talius, stay!
Who goes there?
'Tis Talius, Ramus's bedfellow.
What art thou?
I am, as Ramus is, a Christian.
Well, let him go. He is a Catholic.
Come, Ramus, more gold, or thou shalt have the stab.
Alas, I am a scholar. How should I have gold? All that I have is but my stipend from the king, which is no sooner received, but it is spent.
Who have you there?
'Tis Ramus, the king's professor of logic.
Stab him!
Oh, good my lord, wherein hath Ramus been so offensious?
Marry, sir, in having a smack and all, yet never did sound anything to the depth. Was it not thou that scoffed the organon and said it was a heap of vanities? Sarah, kill him.
Oh, good my lord, let me but speak a word.
Well, say on.
Not for my life do I desire this pause, but in my latter hour to purge myself, and that I know the things that I have wrote, which, as I hear, one Shekius takes it ill, because my places, being but 3, contain all his. I knew the organon to be confused, and I reduced it into better form. And this for Aristotle will I say, that he that despiseth him can ne'er be good in logic or philosophy. And that's because the blockish Sorbonists attribute as much unto their works as to the service of the eternal God.
I suffer you that peasant to declaim. Stab him, I say. Send him to his friends in hell.
Ne'er was there collier's son so full of pride.
No.
My lord of Anjou, there are 100 Protestants which we have chased into the river Seine that swim about and so preserve their lives. How may we do? I fear me they will live.
Go place some men upon the bridge, with bows and darts, to shoot at them they see, and sink them in the river as they swim.
'Tis well advised. Dumaine, go see it straight. And in the meantime, my lord, could we devise to get those pedants from the King Navarre that are tutors to him?
For that, let me alone. Cousin, stay you here, and when you see me in, then follow hard. How now, my lords? How fare you?
My lord, they say that all the Protestants are massacred.
Aye, so they are. But yet, what remedy? I have done what I could to stay this broil.
Yet, my lord, the report doth run that you were the one that made this massacre.
Who I? You are deceived. I rose but now.
Murder the Huguenots! Take those pedants hence!
Traitor guys, lay off thy bloody hands!
Come, schoolmasters. I'll whip you to death with my poniard's point!
Away with them both!
And now, sirs, for this night let our fury stay, yet will we not that the massacre shall end. Spare not one that you suspect of heresy. And now stay that bell that to the devil's matin rings. Now every man put off his burgonet, and so convey him closely to his bed.
My lords of Poland, I must needs confess, the offer of your prince-elector is far beyond the reach of my deserts, for Poland is, as I have been informed, a martial people, worthy such a king as hath sufficient counsel in himself to lighten doubts, and frustrate subtle foes, and such a king whom practice long hath taught to please himself with manage of the wars. The greatest wars within our Christian bounds. I mean our wars against the Muscovites, and on the other side against the Turk, rich princes both, and mighty emperors. Yet, by my brother Charles, our King of France, and by his Grace's counsel, it is thought that, if I undertake to wear the crown of Poland, it may prejudice their hope of my inheritance to the crown of France. For, if the Almighty take my brother hence, by due descent the regal seat is mine. With Poland, therefore, must I covenant this, that if, by death of Charles, the diadem of France be cast on me, then, with your leaves, I may retire me to my native home. If your commission serve to warrant this, I thankfully shall undertake the charge of you and yours, and carefully maintain the wealth and safety of your kingdom's right.
Now, Sarah, what should we do with the Admiral?
Why, let's burn him for an heretic.
Oh no, his body will infect the fire, and the fire the air, and so we shall be poisoned with him.
What shall we do then?
Let us throw him into the river.
Oh, 'twill corrupt the water, and the water the fish, and by the fish ourselves when we eat them.
Then throw him into the ditch.
No, to decide all doubts, be ruled by me. Let's hang him here upon this wall.
Agreed.
Now, madam, how like you our lusty admiral?
Believe me, guys, he becomes the place so well as I could long ere this have wished him there. But come, let's walk aside. The air's not very sweet.
No, by my faith, madam. Sirs, take him away, and throw him in some ditch. And now, madam, as I understand, there are 100 Huguenots and more which in the woods do hold their synagogue, and daily meet this time of day. And thither will I, to put them to the sword.
Do so, sweet guys. Let us delay no time, for if these stragglers gather head again and disperse themselves throughout the realm of France, it will be hard for us to work their deaths. Begone. Delay no time, sweet guys.
Madam, I go as whirlwinds do before a storm.
My lord of domain, have you marked of late how Charles our son begins for to lament for the late night's work which my lord of Guise did make in Paris amongst the Huguenots?
Madam, I have heard him solemnly vow, with the rebellious king of Navarre, for to revenge their deaths upon us all.
Aye, but, my lord, let me alone for that, for Catherine must have her will in France. As I do live, so surely shall he die, and Henry then shall wear the diadem. And, if he grudge or cross his mother's will, I'll disinherit him and all the rest. For I'll rule France, but they shall wear the crown. And, if they storm, I then may pull them down. Come, my lord, let us go.
Oh, let me stay, and rest me here a while. A griping pain hath seized upon my heart. A sudden pang, the messenger of death.
Oh, say not so. Thou kill'st thy mother's heart.
I must say so. Pain forceth me complain.
Comfort yourself, my lord, and have no doubt that God will sure restore you to your health.
Oh, no, my loving brother of Navarre. I have deserved a scourge, I must confess. Yet is there patience of another sort than to misdo the welfare of their king. God grant my nearest friends may prove no worse. Oh, hold me up. My sight begins to fail, my sinews shrink, my brain turns upside down, my heart doth break.
What? Art thou dead, sweet son? Speak to thy mother. Oh, no. His soul is fled from out his breast, and he nor hears nor sees us what we do. My lords, what resteth there now for to be done, but that we presently dispatch ambassadors to Poland to call Henry back again to wear his brother's crown and dignity. Bartus, go see it presently be done, and bid him come without delay to us. And now, my lords, after these funerals be done, we will, with all the speed we can, provide for Henry's coronation from Polony. Come, let us take his body hence.
Now, whilst these broils do last, my opportunity may serve me fit to steal from France and hie me to my home. Here's no safety in the realm for me. And now that Henry is called from Poland, it is my due by just succession, and therefore, as speedily as I can perform, I will muster up an army secretly, for fear that Guise, joined with the King of Spain, might seek to cross me in some enterprise. But God, that always doth defend the right, will show his mercy and preserve us still.
Welcome from Poland, Henry, once again. Welcome to France, thy father's royal seat. Here hast thou a country void of fears, a warlike people to maintain thy right, a watchful senate for ordaining laws, a loving mother to preserve thy state, and all things that a king may wish besides. All this and more hath Henry with his crown.
And long may Henry enjoy all this, and more.
Thanks to you all. The guider of all crowns, grant that our deeds may well deserve your loves. And so they shall, if fortune speed my will, and yield your thoughts to height of my deserts. What say our minions? Think they Henry's heart will not both harbour love and majesty? Put off that fear. They are already joined. No person, place, or time, or circumstance shall slack my love's affection from his bent. As now you are, so shall you still persist, removeless from the favours of your king.
We know that noble minds change not their thoughts for wearing of a crown, in that your grace have worn the Poland diadem, before you were invested in the crown of France.
I tell thee, Mougeron, we will be friends, and fellows too, whatever storms arise. Go, sirrah, work no more till this our coronation day be past. And now, our solemn rites of coronation done, what now remains but for a while to feast, and spend some days in barriers, tourney, tilt, and like disports, such as do fit the court? Let's go, my lords. Our dinner stays for us.
My Lord Domain, tell me, how likes your grace my son's pleasantness? His mind, you see, runs on his minions, and all his heaven is to delight himself. And, whilst he sleeps securely thus in ease, thy brother Guise and we may now provide to plant ourselves with such authority as not a man may live without our leaves. Then shall the Catholic faith of Rome flourish in France, and none deny the same.
Madam, as in secrecy I was told, my brother Guise hath gathered a power of men, which are, he saith, to kill the Puritans. But 'tis the house of Bourbon that he means. Now, madam, must you insinuate with the king, and tell him that 'tis for his country's good and common profit of religion.
Tush, man, let me alone of him to work the way to bring this thing to pass. And if he do deny what I do say, I'll dispatch him with his brother presently, and then shall monsieur wear the diadem. Tush, all shall die unless I have my will, for while she lives, Catherine will be queen. Come, my lord, let us go seek the Guise, and then determine of this enterprise.
I may write unto you, my dearest lord. Sweet Mougeron, 'tis he that hath my heart, and Guise usurps it, 'cause I am his wife. Fain would I find some means to speak with him, but cannot, and therefore am enforced to write, that he may come and meet me in some place, where we may one enjoy the other's sight. Oh, would to God, this quill that here doth write had late been plucked from out fair Cupid's wing, that it might print these lines within his heart.
What, all alone, my love? And writing too? I prithee, say to whom thou writest.
To such a one, my lord, as when she reads my lines will laugh, I fear me, at their good array.
I pray thee, let me see.
Oh, no, my lord, a woman only must partake the secrets of my heart.
But, madam, I must see. Are these your secrets that no man must know?
Oh, pardon me, my lord.
Thou trothless and unjust! What lines are these? Am I grown old? Or is thy lust grown young? Or hath my love been so obscured in thee that others need to comment on my text? Is all my love forgot which held thee dear? Aye, dearer than the apple of mine eye? Is Guy's glory but a cloudy mist in sight and judgment of thy lustful eye? Mortio! Were not the fruit within thy womb, of whose increase I set some longing hope, this wrathful hand should strike thee to the heart? Hence, strumpets! Hide thy head for shame, and fly my presence if thou look to live! Wicked sex, perjured and unjust. Now do I see that from the very first her eyes and looks sowed seeds of perjury. But villain, he to whom these lines should go, shall buy her love, even with his dearest blood.
My lords, sith in a quarrel just and right, we undertake to manage these our wars against the proud disturbers of the faith. I mean the Guys, the Pope, and the King of Spain, who set themselves to tread us underfoot and rent our true religion from this land. But for you know our quarrel is no more but to defend their strange inventions which they will put to us with sword and fire. We must, with resolute minds, resolve to fight in honour of our God and country's good. Spain is the council chamber of the Pope. Spain is the place where he makes peace and war, and Guys for Spain hath now incensed the king to send his power and to meet us in the field.
Then in this bloody brunt they may behold the sole endeavour of your princely care, to plant the true succession of the faith, in spite of Spain and all his heresies.
The power of vengeance now encamps itself upon the haughty mountains of my breast, plays with the gory colours of revenge, whom I respect as leaves of boasting green, that change their colour when the winter comes, when I shall vaunt as victor in revenge.
My lord, as by our scouts we understand, a mighty army comes from France with speed, which are already mustered in the land, and means to meet your highness in the field.
In God's name let them come. This is the Guise that incensed the king to levy arms and make these civil broils. But canst thou tell who is their general?
Not yet, my lord, for thereon do they stay. But as report doth go, the Duke of Joyeux hath made great suit unto the king therefore.
It will not countervail his pains, I hope. I would that the Guise in his stead might have come, but he doth lurk within his drowsy couch, and makes his footstools on security. So he be safe, he cares not what becomes of king or country, no, not for them both. But come, my lords, let us away with speed, and place ourselves in order for the fight.
My sweet Joyeux, I make thee general of all my army, now in readiness to march against the rebellious King Navarre. At thy request I am content thou go, although my love to thee can hardly suffer it, regarding still the danger of thy life.
Health and hearty farewell to my Lord Joyeux.
So kindly, cousin of Guise, you and your wife do both salute our lovely minions. He makes horns at the Guise. Remember you the letter, gentle sir, which your wife writ to my dear minion and her chosen friend?
How now, my lord? Faith, this is more than need. Am I thus to be jested at and scorned? 'Tis more than kingly or imperious. And sure, if all the proudest kings in Christendom should bear me such derision, they should know how I scorned them and their mocks. I love your minions. Ha! Dote on them yourself. I know none else but holds them in disgrace. And here, by all the saints in heaven, I swear, that villain, for whom I bear this deep disgrace, even for your words that have incensed me so, shall buy that strumpet's favour with his blood, whether he hath dishonoured me or no. Parlement Dieu de Mora!
Believe me, Red, this jest bites sore.
My lord, 'twere good to make them friends, for his oaths are seldom spent in vain.
How now, Mougeron? Metst thou not the guys at the door?
Not I, my lord. What if I had?
Marry, if thou hadst, thou mightst have had the stab, for he hath solemnly sworn thy death.
I may be stabbed, and live till he be dead, but wherefore bears he me such deadly hate?
'Cause his wife bears thee such kindly love.
If that be all, the next time that I meet her, I'll make her shake of love with her heels. But which way is he gone? I'll go make a walk on purpose from the court to meet with him.
I like not this. Come, Red, let us go seek the Duke and make them friends.
The Duke of Joyu is slain, and his power dispersed, and we are graced with wreaths of victory. Thus God we see doth ever guide the right, to make his glory great upon the earth.
The terror of this happy victory, I hope, will make the king surcease his hate, and either never manage army more, or else employ them in some better cause.
How many noblemen have lost their lives in prosecution of these cruel arms? Is ruth, and almost death to call to mind. But God, we know, will always put them down, that lift themselves against the perfect truth, which I'll maintain so long as life doth last, and with the Queen of England join my force, to beat the papal monarch from our lands, and keep those relics from our country's coasts. Come, my lords, now that the storm is overpast, let us away with triumph to our tents.
Now, sir, to you that dares make a duke a cuckold, and use a counterfeit key to his privy chamber, though you take out none but your own treasure, yet you put in that this pleases him, and fill up his room that he should occupy. Herein, sir, you forestall the market, and set up your standing where you should not. But you will say you leave him room enough besides. That's no answer. He's to have the choice of his own free land. If it be not too free, there's the question. Now for where he is your landlord, you take upon you to be his, and will needs enter by the fault. What thou you were once in possession, yet coming upon you once unawares, he frayed you out again, therefore your entry is mere intrusion. This is against the law, sir, and though I come not to keep possession as I would I might, yet I come to keep you out, sir. What? Are you come so soon? Have it ye, sir!
Ah! Traitorous guys! Ah! Thou hast murdered me!
Hold thee, little soldier. Take thee this and fly. Thus fall in perfect exhalation, which our great son of France could not effect, a fiery meteor in the firmament. Lie there, the king's delight and Guise's scorn. Revenge it, Henry, if thou list or darest. I did it only in despite of thee. Fondly hast thou incensed the Guise's soul, that of itself was hot enough to work thy just digestion with extremest shame. The army I have gathered now will aim now at thy end, thine extirpation. And when thou thinkst I have forgotten this, and that thou most reposeth on my faith, then will I wake thee from thy foolish dream, and let thee see thyself my prisoner.
My lord of Guise, we understand that you have gathered a power of men. What your intent is yet we cannot learn, but we presume it is not for our good.
Why, I am no traitor to the crown of France. What I have done, 'tis for the gospel's sake. Why, I am a prince of the Valois line, therefore an enemy of the Bourbonites. I am a juror in the Holy League, and therefore hated of the Protestants. What should I do but stand upon my guard, and, being able, keep a host in pay. The Pope and King of Spain are thy good friends, else all of France knows how poor a duke thou art.
Aye, those are they that feed him with their gold, to countermand our will, and check our friends.
My lord, to speak more plainly, thus it is. Being animated by religious zeal, I mean to muster all the power I can to overthrow those sextious Puritans. And no, the Pope will sell his triple crown. I and the Catholic Philip, King of Spain, ere I shall want, shall cause his Indians to rip the golden bowels of America. Navarre that cloaks them underneath his wings shall feel the house of Lorraine is his foe. Your Highness needs not fear mine army's force. 'Tis for your safety and your enemy's wrack.
Guys, wear our crown, and be thou King of France, and, as dictator, make a war or peace, whilst I cry placet like a senator? I cannot brook thy haughty insolence. Dismiss thy camp, or else by our edict be thou proclaimed a traitor throughout France.
The choice is hard. I must dissemble. My lord, in token of my true humility and simple meaning to your majesty, I kiss your grace's hand and take my leave, intending to dislodge my cap with speed.
Then farewell, guys. The king and thou are friends.
But trust him not, my lord. For had your highness seen with what a pomp he entered Paris, and how the citizens with gifts and shows did entertain him, and promised to be at his command, nay, they feared not to speak in the streets that the guise durst stand in arms against the king, for not affecting of your holiness' will.
Did they of Paris entertain him so? That means he present treason to our state. Make a discharge of all my counsel straight, and I'll subscribe my name and seal it straight. My head shall be my counsel. They are false, and, red, I will be ruled by thee.
My lord, I think, for safety of your royal person, it would be good the guise were made away, and so to quit your grace of all suspect.
First, let us set our hand and see to this, and then I'll tell thee what I mean to do. So, convey this to the council presently, and, red, though I sing mild and calm, think not but I am a tragical within. I'll secretly convey me unto Bellois, for, now that Paris takes the guise's part, here is no staying for the King of France, unless he mean to be betrayed and die, but, as I live, so sure the guise shall die.
My lord, I am advertised from France that the guises have taken arms against the king, and that Paris is revolted from his grace.
Then hath your grace fit opportunity to show your love unto the King of France, offering him aid against his enemies, which cannot but be thankfully received.
But it shall be so. Post then to France, and there salute his highness in our name. Assure him all the aid we can provide against the Guisians and their accomplices. Bartes be gone, commend me to his grace, and tell him ere it be long I'll visit him. Go muster up our men with speed, and let them march away to France and Maine, for we must aid the king against the Guise. Be gone, I say. It's time that we were there.
I go, my lord.
Wicked Guise, I fear me much, will be the ruin of the famous realm of France. His aspiring thoughts aim at the crown, and takes his vantage on religion to plant the Pope and popelings in the realm, and bind it wholly to the see of Rome. But if that God do prosper mine attempts, and send us safely to arrive in France, we will beat him back, and drive him to his death, that basely seeks to ruin of this realm.
Come on, sir. What, are you resolutely bent, hating the life and honour of the Guise? What, will you not fear when you see him come?
But when will he come, that we may murder him?
Well, then, I see that you are resolute.
Let me alone, I warrant you.
Then, sirs, take your standings within this chamber, for anon the guise will come.
You will give me my money?
Aye, fear not. Stand close, so be resolute. Now falls a star, whose influence governs France, whose light was deadly to the Protestants. Now he must fall and perish in his height.
Now, Rhett, is this murderer ready?
They be, my good lord.
Then come, proud guise, and here disgorge thy breast. Surcharged with surfeit of ambitious thoughts, breathe out that life wherein my death was hid, and end thy endless treasons with thy death.
Holla, varlet, hey! Right, where is the king?
Mounted his royal cabinet.
I prithee tell him that the guise is here.
And please your grace, the Duke of Guise doth crave access unto your highness.
Let him come in. Come, Guise, and see thy traitorous guile outreached, and perish in the pit thou madest for me.
Good morrow to your majesty.
Good morrow to my loving cousin of Guise. How fares it this morning with your excellence?
I hear your majesty was scarcely pleased that in the court I bear so great a train.
They were to blame that said I was displeased. And you, good cousin, to imagine it. 'Twere hard with me, if I should doubt my kin, or be suspicious of my dearest friend. Cousin, assure you I am resolute. Whatsoever any whisper in mine ears, not to suspect disloyalty in thee. And so, sweet cause, farewell.
So, now sues the king for favour to the guise, and all his minions stoop when I command. Why this, 'tis to have an army in the field. Now by the holy sacrament I swear, as ancient Romans over their captive lords, so will I triumph over this wanton king, and he shall follow my proud chariot's wheels. Now do I but begin to look about, and all my former time was spent in vain. Hold sword, for in thee lies the Duke of Guise's hope. Oh! I have my death's wound. Give me leave to speak.
Then pray to God and ask forgiveness of the king.
Trouble me not. I ne'er offended him, nor will I ask forgiveness of the king. Oh, that I have no power to stay my life, nor immortality to be revenged, to die by peasants. What a grief is this! Sixtus, be revenged upon the king. Philip and Parma, I am slain for you. Pope, excommunicate. Philip, depose the wicked branch of Kurzverlei's line. Vive la Maes! Polish Huguenots! Thus Caesar did go forth, and thus he...
What, have you done? Then stay a while, and I'll go call the king. But see where he comes, my lord, see where the guise is slain.
Ah, this sweet sight is physic to my soul. Surcharged with guilt of vows and massacres, Monsieur of Lorraine, sink away to hell. And in remembrance of those bloody broils to which thou didst allure me, being alive, And here in presence of you all, I swear, I never was King of France until this hour. This is the traitor that I've spent my gold in making foreign wars and civil broils. Did he not draw a sort of English priest from Douai to the seminary at Rheims to hatch forth treason against their natural queen? Did he not cause the King of Spain's huge fleet to threaten England and to menace me? Did he not injure Monsieur that's deceased? Hath he not made me, in the Pope's defence, to spend the treasure that should strengthen my land in civil broils between Navarre and me? Thus, to be short, he meant to make me monk, or else to murder me, and so be king. Let Christian princes that shall hear of this, as all the world shall know our Guise is dead, rest satisfied with this, that here I swear never was there King of France so yoked as I. But what availeth that this traitor's dead, when Duke de Maine, his brother, is alive? Soldiers, go to the governor of Orleans, and will him in my name to kill the Duke. These two will make one entire Duke of Guise, especially with our mother's old help.
My lord, see where she comes, as if she drooped to hear these news.
And let her droop, my heart is light enough. Mother, how like you this device of mine? I slew the Guise, because I would be king.
King? Why, so thou wert before. Pray God thou be a king now this is done.
Nay, he was king, and countermanded me. But now I will be king, and rule myself, and make the Guysians stoop that are alive.
I cannot speak for grief. When thou wast born, I would that I had murdered thee, my son. My son! Thou art a changeling, not my son. I curse thee, and exclaim thee miscreant, traitor to God and to the realm of France.
Cry out, exclaim, how, till thy throat be hoarse. The Guise is slain, and I rejoice therefore. And now will I to arms. Come, Rhett, and let her grieve her heart out, if she will.
Sweet Guise, would he had died so thou wert here. To whom shall I bewray my secrets now, or who will help me to build religion? The Protestants will glory in insult, wicked Navarre will get the crown of France, the popedom cannot stand, all goes to wrack, and all for thee, my Guise, what may I do? But sorrow seize upon my toiling soul, for, since the Guise is dead, I will not live.
My noble brother, murdered by the king. Oh, what may I do to revenge thy death? The king's alone it cannot satisfy. Sweet Duke of Guise, our prop to lean upon. Now thou art dead, here is no stay for us. I am thy brother, and I'll revenge thy death, and root Valois his line from forth of France, and beat proud Bourbon to his native home, that basely seeks to join with such a king, whose murderous thoughts will be his overthrow. He willed the governor of Orleans, in his name, that I with speed should have been put to death. But that's prevented. For to end his life, and all those traitors to the Church of Rome that durst attempt to murder noble Guise.
My lord, hear me but speak. I am a friar of the order of the Jacobins, that for my conscience' sake will kill the king.
But what doth move thee, above the rest, to do the deed?
Oh, my lord, I've been a great sinner in my days, and the deed is meritorious.
But how wilt thou get opportunity?
Tush, my lord, leave me alone for that.
Friar, come with me. We will talk more of this within.
Brother of Navarre, I sorrow much that ever I was proved your enemy, and that the sweet and princely mind you bear was ever troubled with injurious wars. I vow, as I am lawful King of France, to recompense your reconciled love with all the honours and affections that ever I vouchsafe to my dearest friends.
It is enough if that Navarre may be esteemed faithful to the King of France, whose service he may still command till death.
Thanks to my kingly brother of Navarre. Then here we'll lie before Letetia's walls, girding the strumpet city with our siege, till, surfeiting with our afflicting arms, she casts her hateful stomach to the air.
And it please your majesty, here is a friar of the Order of the Jacobins, sent from the President of Paris, that craves access unto your grace.
Let him come in. Friar, thou dost acknowledge me thy king?
Ay, my good lord, and will die therein.
Then come thou near, and tell what news thou bringst.
My lord, the President of Paris greets your grace, and sends his duty by these speedy lines, humbly craving your gracious reply.
I'll read them, friar, and then I'll answer thee.
Sancte Jacobus, have mercy upon me!
What is your highness hurt?
Yes, Navarre, but not to death, I hope.
God shield your grace from such sudden death. Go, call a surgeon hither straight.
What irreligious pagans' parts be these, of such as hold them of the Holy Church? Take hence the damned villain from my sight. Go, call the English agent hither straight. I'll send my sister England news of this, and give her warning of her treacherous foes. Thy king must die. My lords, fight in the quarrel, this valiant prince, for he is your lawful king, and my next heir. Valois' line ends in my tragedy. Now let the house of Bourbon wear the crown, and may it never end in blood, as mine hath done. Weep not, sweet Navarre, but revenge my death. Henry, thy king wipes off these childish tears, and bids thee whet thy sword on Sixtus's bones, that it may keenly slice the Catholics. He loves me not the most that sheds most tears, but he that makes most lavish of his blood. Fire, Paris, where these treacherous rebels lurk. I die, Navarre, come bear me to my sepulchre. Salute the Queen of England in my name, and tell her Henry dies a faithful friend.
Come, lords, take up the body of the king, that we may see it honourably interred, and then I vow so to revenge his death, as Rome and all the popish prelates there shall curse the time that Navarre was king, and ruled in France by Henry's fatal death.